Okay, so now we're going to look at making Excel do the work for us. So let me get my Excel up here. Okay, so here's Excel. I'm going to create a new blank workbook. If you already have one started that you want to use, that's fine, but I didn't, so I'm going to start this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a basic, like a quick budget type thing, just because that's an easy one to put formulas in. And again, I hardly ever start in column or in cell A1. I usually leave some space for some titles or notes or whatever. So I'm going to come down to about here. And what I'm going to do is first I'm going to rename this. So if you right click on that, you can go up to rename. And if you're on a Chromebook, remember to right click, you just touch it with your two fingers at the same time. So I'm going to call this budget. And you could always change the name if you don't like that one. Okay. So I know I'm going to have categories. Let's say I'm in college and the first year I had to stay in a dorm, but now I'm in like my sophomore or junior year and I'm getting me an apartment. Tired of roommates? That's it. So there are some expenses that I know that I'm going to have. I'm trying to plan. So I know I'm going to have rent. I'm probably going to have electricity. Kind of depends on the apartment that you have, but usually electricity is not always included. A lot of times water is. Okay, so I know I'm going to have rent. I know I'm going to have electricity. I definitely need internet because that's like not even an option. I need some streaming services because I get bored. So streaming, I'll just call it entertainment. And notice how this goes into this column over here. We'll fix that in a second. I know I'm going to have transportation costs. I know I'm going to have parking. Like there's going to be a parking fee at the school to use the parking lot. So in transportation costs, I'll probably include things like gas, that kind of stuff. Let's say that's it. I'm not including my school, books and fees and all that. Let's just play with this for now. First, I want to widen this column because if I start typing numbers or anything really, here, let me put some numbers. All of a sudden it cuts it off, right? So I don't want to do that. I want to widen this. So what I do is I highlight this B because that's the column that they're in. And if you go right here between B and C, it turns into like that thing with the arrows pointing like this. If you click and drag that out, it widens it. Okay, so school starts, I move in September 1st, let's say. So I'm going to call this September. Again, that's too short, so I'm going to widen that to October. And I'm just looking for the first few months. You would put this as, far out as you wanted to. But I'm going to widen this column. October is okay. November needs to be widened, and December too. Okay. There's a way to set these. Like if I look at this, it'll tell me the size. So like that's 10.27. I could actually do a batch thing where I like highlight all of them. If I then right click, I can format column width and I could put them all to 10.27. And it makes them all that width all at once instead of having to do them each individually. Okay, so let's say I find an apartment for $500. This is pretend. Electricity, let's say, is 150. Also pretend. Internet, let's say I'm paying 65. Entertainment, I'm going to include other things in there too. I'm going to say 70. Transportation, let's say I'm spending $100. And parking, let's say I'm spending $25 a month. Okay. So I'm going to probably underline this to show that it's a header row. There we go. Keep it kind of separate. And then what I want to know is I want to know how much I'm going to need, right? That's what I'm really interested in. So I'm going to come down here, and you can either put it right here or skip a space. It's totally up to you. I'm going to put total. Okay, here's to the part where we're actually going to make Excel do stuff. All this other stuff was just us setting it up and us putting in the numbers. Now we want to make Excel work. So the first thing you have to do, you can't just go 500 plus 150 plus 65. If you do that, if you hit enter, it stays just like that because you haven't told Excel that you want it to do anything. You're just typing in numbers, so it just thinks it's input. So the first thing you have to do is you have to tell Excel, you go, hey, Excel, add these, do math. So the first thing you do is you put equals. Equals that's like telling Excel, that's like, hey, Alexa, right? This tells Excel, wake up, you're going to do math now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add all of these up. And there are two ways to do this. We can use it with a plus sign, or we can tell it to calculate it all at once using a formula. That's what I usually do, but I'll show you both ways. So what we're going to do is anytime you start typing in formulas, we're not hard coding any numbers anymore. These are now input cells. So we want to reference that cell. We don't want to type in that number, because if we type in the number and then the number changes, this total won't update. So we want to reference the cell. So I'm gonna click on the cell. So notice down here it says C5 because we're in column C, row 5. So that's saying, okay, whatever's in this cell. And then if I put shift equals, gives me the plus sign, and then I click on the next one. So now it's telling me whatever's in this cell plus whatever's in this cell. And then you go plus, and then click on that cell, and then plus, and click on this cell. This is not my favorite way of doing this. And then plus, click on this cell, plus, click on this cell. Notice we have a bunch of things in here. Now in this case, we only have like what, 7 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But most of the time, you're going to have way more than 6 cells that you're adding up. So it's real easy. First of all, it takes forever to click on every single cell. And then also, it's real easy to skip some. But if we hit enter after that, then it does the math. See, it's telling me, okay, you need $910 a month. But again, this is too much work. Like, that's defeating the purpose of using Excel. The whole purpose of using Excel is that it'll do that for you. Like, you want to do the least amount possible. That's the whole reason you use Excel. So what I'm going to do instead, if I space, that clears that out. But you don't have to, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do something different. It's got tons of built-in formulas, and we're going to use one of those. So if you hit equals, so now we're saying, hey, Excel, wake up. Let's see, let me make sure I don't have a space in between there. Because I don't, okay, good. I hit equal. Now I'm going to type sum, S-U-M. Because remember, the sum of something is how much, it's everything added up. Notice this whole little list comes up. That means that these are all built-in formulas. And we're using the first one, just sum. But now we got to tell it what we want to sum up. So if we go shift 9, that gives us an open parentheses. Notice now it says number, comma, number, comma, number. So now I could either click on all of them individually. So notice C5. So then I would put comma, whatever. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click on C5, but then I'm going to highlight all of these. And look what it automatically fills in. It says C5 colon C10. That means everything from C5 all the way down to C10. If I close my parentheses, that's it. Like, that's my formula. I just hit enter. And see, it added it all up for us. We didn't have to go and type everything in. And now, because I referenced these cells, if I change something, so this is 910 right now. Let's say my internet goes up to 75. If I change that to 75, it automatically updates to 920. Like, let's say my rent went up to 650. Ta-da, it automatically updates. So that's the whole purpose of putting this like this and not typing in the numbers, because then it'll update anytime we want it to. So like, let's say for October, it's also 650. Or let's say I found a better apartment and now it's 575. My electricity went down because it's super efficient. Internet, let's say internet's included in this one. I'm going to put a 0. Entertainment, I'm still saying 70. Transportation, it's closer to campus, so I'm going to say 75. And parking, I'm still paying 25. So now we have two options. We can do the whole sum thing. So we could go equals sum, open parentheses, highlight our numbers, close parentheses, enter. So that adds it up. So notice my cost went down. So I could do it that way, or I could do this. This is one of those tricky things. This is handy. If I go right here, so this I already have added up. If you notice down here at the bottom right corner, you've got this like square. And like right here, like as you're moving around, your cursor is like a plus sign. But if I go right on this bottom corner, it turns into this like solid little tiny plus sign. if I click on that and I drag it to the right, what it's going to do is it's going to take whatever formula was in that cell and it's going to copy the formula over to the next one. See, it does it for me. But what it does when you move it, notice this is column C, so it's C5 to C10. When I move this to the right, it automatically adjusts the column to the right. So now we're in column D, it takes D5 to D10. So if I do that again, it'll change it to E. So this one is E. Notice it's a 0 because I don't have anything in there. So then all I have to do is go fill in my numbers. So everything is pretty much the same. Let's say I went to a concert, or I'm planning on it, and my concert is $10. We're pretending. Okay, transportation, parking. I found a better parking lot, and it's only $10 now. Ta-da! It updates my totals. It does everything for me. So that's the whole purpose with Excel, is doing it for me. And notice that we used a built-in formula that was sum. There are other built-in formulas too that we're going to talk about.